are back to continue reading from Alone, Book One. This is me sharing my story. If you've just stumbled upon this video, my name is Lebupule. I am an author, a memoirist, a teacher, and a life coach. And I am here on YouTube reading from my first book. I'm reading certain chapters, certain aspects of my book, and doing some commentary, reflections, and some teaching moments. If you do want to buy the book, details are somewhere on the show notes. So, this is video 3, and I am continuing from where I left off with the previous video. This is video number 3. So, I'm brand new. I'm a baby here on YouTube. So, if you could like and subscribe and comment, that would be so great. And if you do comment with where you relate in the story, that would be even more awesome. All right, so I don't want to make this long. I really don't. I don't want to get over 20 minutes. So I'm going to read from where I left, and then I'm going to give some commentary because it's quite deep. So we might just end up there. It's just one paragraph, and it's so layered and it's so deep. And this is the beauty, guys, of telling your own story, of writing your own story, and then also just reflecting back. Because this book was written in 2014. It was reprinted last year in 2024 as a 10-year anniversary. And for whatever reason, I have started rereading it. And because I'm older and it's 10 years later, I am able to give fair reflections and share with you where I'm at now, and then just teach, because I'm also a life coach, and life coaches are healers, and healers are memoirists. Most memoirists are actually healers. I mean, we can think of the famous memoirist, Miss Liz Gilbert, Eat, Pray, Love. That book healed so many people, and she is continuing to heal and teach. So as a memoirist and being a life coach and being a teacher, it is all one WhatsApp group. And also, I'm encouraging you, if you feel like you're an aspiring memoirist, you want to write your own story, continue following this Diaries of a Memoirist. It's the series name. Now I call it Diaries of a Memoirist. And let's see where it takes you. Let's see how it will shape your own story writing. And if you need more help, obviously you can email me. My details are somewhere on the show notes. Okay, so I'm going to continue from where I left off. If you are new, obviously you'll have to listen to watch the other video, and then we can take it from there. So without much ado, let us begin, and let us put the glasses like principal. These are reading glasses. I need to actually get proper glasses, but yeah, it's 2 million and I don't have it now. All right. You will remember that I left off. Let me start. Should I do that? No. Let me start from where the sentence, where I left the sentence. Okay. It was 1994. It was 1994. In my continuing efforts to restore the family name, I married the first young man who was nice to me. He was so nice that he asked me to marry him within 3 months of us meeting. I couldn't say no. I was 18 years old. I thought that was true love. I thought I was in love and no one could convince me otherwise. Marriage was such a prestigious thing, a very important step in a young woman's life. Saying no to a marriage proposal was unheard of. It was taboo, even. Marrying young was a generational pattern. My mother married at 16, at 17. No, let me read that line again. Marrying young was a generational pattern. My mother married at 17, my grandmother married at 16, my sister wed at 22, and almost all my aunts from my mother's side were married off before they turned 23. So when the proposal came to marry me, I agreed. Okay, so there's a lot here. Hey, there is quite a bit here. Um, There's also a lot around the mother wound. There's a lot about the generational patterns or generational cases, as they call them. There's also generational um, blessings. So I come from a family. In fact, maybe let me backtrack a bit. You will recall that at 16 I had a baby, right? At 15 I fell pregnant. At 16 I had a baby, Tsulufelo. And the father of Tsolofelo is not the man who asked me to marry him. And Tsolofelo's dad, as we continue reading the book, will reappear, and I think you're going to absolutely love him. Even though my falling pregnant was obviously not a yes, a clear yes, and those are the things that we need to debate in 2025. When you had a boyfriend in the 80s, 90s, and I know a lot of our generation as girls, because we were always told, no, don't say no, say no. And I did say no. I did say no. But then you get coerced, you get begged, you get um, almost groomed as well, to eventually finding yourself in the situation. I know of a lot of women. I know of a lot of women. I've coached a lot of women. I've had conversations with a lot of women who can tell you straight up that my first time was not a straight yes. All I know is that I kept saying no, but then it happened. Now, those are the discussions we'll have as time goes on around the whole sexual thing and why is it that we are known as the rape capital of the world. Okay, so another different plot which we'll get to when we read that passage. So I needed to give you that context to understand why is it that I feel like being asked to be married by who I believe is the first nicest man. And I don't hesitate and I say yes. And there are many factors, there are a few factors that influence that yes. Even though I considered myself smart and whatnot, but those factors play a major, major role without even us knowing about it, or without even us being conscious of it, And those things are generational patterns, generational curses, and generational blessings. So so our generational pattern in the family, the women in our family, is that we become teen moms and teen wives. And the marriages are not necessarily very satisfactory and they're downright unhappy, some of them quite toxic. And I broke that case of, we'll get there when we get there. So the thing with generational patterns or generational cases is that they live in the body. They're in your DNA, they're in your blood, they're in your cells. They are ancestral and they repeat, the generational patterns repeat with each generation for as long as we are not healing it, for not long as we are not talking about it, putting it out in the open, hearing about it, sharing stories, listening to how great grandmother was, grandmother was, and sharing those stories amongst us and declaring what is it that we want to change, what we want to fix, or what timeline we want to take. That is how a generational pattern gets broken by being spoken about. And that's what we mean by healing it. And that's also what we mean by healing the mother wound. Healing the mother wound is a buzzword now. It's one of the things that I teach. It's one of the subjects very close to my heart that I teach in my courses from time to time. You will hear about it when I have one coming up. And so I then come from that generation. It is in my body, it is in my cell. It then influences what? The first guy who says, I want to marry you. I say yes without hesitation, despite the fact that he was 11 years my senior. I mean, I was 18 and he was 29. And 11-year gap in a normal in grown-ups, it's fine. I mean, if you're 35 and he's 46, that's actually considered okay. Or you are 35, or you are 35 and she's 46. We live in this era now where women can date young and marry young and so on. But when you are 18 and 29, that's something off there. So which tells you that that is a generational pattern, a generational curse that needs to be healed in my line. And I'm proud to say that a lot of it has been healed because my daughter and my sister's daughter And some of the cousins' daughters did not become teen moms. They waited till much later. I mean, my daughter is I'm 49, so let's 33. Oh my God. And she doesn't have a baby yet. She didn't marry as a teen as well. And she's very, very conscious about some of the decisions that she makes. But that came about because it was something that we discussed, something that we shared. I shared her story, she read my books. She knows a lot about the women in our family. Now, our family blessings, because we talk a lot about generational curses, but never about generational blessings. I also come from a generation of women who are healers and teachers, like staunch healers. And as much as I grew up in Sunday school and from religious women, before that, my grandmother was actually ngaka e kgolo, maybe just to give you the story. So when I became conscious of myself, earliest memories of myself are in Sunday school. And I share this with my students all the time at nauseam. I was in Sunday school, and my grandmother and I's connection was through Bible stories, through Bible teachings. She was a formidable teacher. And so that's how I knew her, as this great teacher who can interpret a Bible verse in the most mystical and profound of ways. But we are told that prior to that, she was actually a very big nyanga, nelingaka e kgolo, and something very personal and very painful, which I'm not going to share now until I get permission. I'll hopefully share it in my third book. Happened such that she renounced it all. She renounced bungaka, bungoma, and all that, and became a religious person, an evangelist, bazalwane za, and then later became a staunch Jehovah's Witness. In fact, by the time she passed away, she passed away as a Jehovah's Witness, and so is my mother. So I am 16. I am a Jehovah's Witness because where the grandmother goes, the mother goes, the daughter goes. And so I'm pregnant in the church, and then, I'm bringing so much shame in the church. And so I want to then redeem myself. And to redeem yourself, there's nothing better than to get married. You are showing that, even with your damaged self, or, for lack of a better word, someone can marry you. So that was influence number two. Influence number one is the DNA, the patterning. Influence number two, I want to clean up this shame and to show my mom and my grandmother and the church that, even we can be. And I think influence number three, which is something I'm reflecting on, I really just wanted to leave home. I was still living at home, even though I was working. And, the home situation was just super interesting as well, which I won't get to because will come in the chapters as I read the book. And so there were three reasons that made it so clear that I have to say yes to this, but they were not conscious. Are you with me? They were all very, very subconscious. And also the fact that, I mean, you're feeling love, you're feeling like you're in love, you're meeting someone who smells good. I mean, he smelled good, he dressed well. He used to take me to like Steers. Steers for me was like nail restaurant. I mean, I'm from Alex. I'm from Alexandra. In as much as I went to a Model C school, we were one of the first people to go to the Model C schools in the early 90s. I was still not very exposed to a lot of things because, of where one comes from. So when a guy is smelling good, has a little car, nana le dombolo. Dombolo Mazda 3. Oh my God. And then he drives you and you go to Steers and then you go to the movies. I mean, that is the life of the movies. And he says, after 3 months, I want to get married to you. You say yes. You say yes. And the major influence, though, are those patterning. And this is the teaching moment. This is what I want to, bring to your attention. And maybe you can reflect on your life a little bit, especially if you want to write your stories and especially if you relate to what I'm talking about. What you want to take away from this is I want you, especially if you still have your parents, if you still have your mother, your grandmother, and if you're still lucky enough to still have your great grandmother, Now that we are entering May, we're getting into Mother's Month. If you're listening to this video and it's 2028 somewhere, this is 2025, it's April, and May is considered Mother's Month. Gather those women and have a conversation, like have a real conversation about who you are as women of that clan, especially the mother side. You can do the father side as well, but that's a different dynamic, which we'll get to when we do daily issues, when I cover the chapter daily issues. And get to know who these women are. Get to understand your family patterning, your generational patterning. What's your pattern? Who are you as women? What is your gift? What is the gift of your hands? We are healers. We are formidable teachers. I think this is why I do this. My sister took aspects of my mom. I took this aspect from my mom and my grandmother. My mom was not an overt teacher. My mom was a one-on-one, and she was more of a healer as well. My mom was, if she had followed that and if she did not do the work club with the Bible too much, she would have been one of the biggest herbalists. My mom used to mix things and give you, if you have a skin condition, she would mix whatever in the house and come up with some roots that she would have bought or pen Alexander, and she would gaya and then she would mix and you will put on your face or wherever the thing is, and it would be sorted. Whenever she'd travel far, she'd come back with aloo and plants. And I mean, my mom, whenever she'd travel with church, when she called home, remember that ring phone, and the first thing she would ask is, "Did you guys water my plants?" No, how are you? Hey, Mablomo Aga. She was that person, and I think she was a herbalist. And because of Christianity indoctrination, apartheid, and whatnot, a lot of our generations, a lot of our women, a lot of our mothers lost and could not do their gifting. I mean, apartheid took a lot out of us because the women had to go and work because the men were in the mines as well. So the women also had to go and work to fend for us. And a lot of our gifts got lost. But if you have that conversation and you dig deep and, with the gentleness and the care that you can master, you can find out who you guys are. And then you can also find out what is your wound. What is the wounding? What is the family wounding? Our family wounding, apart from being teen moms and teen wives and being in really bad marriages, I find that it's the case of being with, for really, I say this with all the respect in the world, being with lesser men, men who do not fully appreciate this. So, which brings in the Bob the Builder aspect of us. We are the women who work for men. And my children, our children are changing that, and I'm seeing in the dating dynamics of my daughter, dating dynamics of my nieces and all that, this thing is slightly changing a bit. So find out what is the wounding in the family, in your women, in your matriarch lineage. And then find out also what are your gifts for the future? What is it that you are here to bring, And then try as much as you can to find someone who can help you heal. I know that a lot of us are into coaching and we are healer this, healer this. There is something there, find a healer that you resonate with, a coach that speaks deeply to you, and see if you can fix this thing. Because the more of us we heal, the more we elevate and we raise the vibration of ourselves and by extension of our children and the men in our lives. And so that's what I would like you to take away from today's passage, which is a very short paragraph. I mean, I don't think it's even 200 words here, but it is that loaded. So next time I will read in another passage, still in chapter 1. We are still in chapter 1, mind you. And then maybe we can then wrap up chapter 1 and then get to chapter 2. But yeah, as a new YouTuber, I want to gain momentum. So I'm going to be posting and publishing 3 times a week. I thought I would do weekly. And something said, no, actually, the agency, because I feel, and it's not a desperate agency. I feel like we need to do this, man. We need to share the stories and hear each other and understand each other because we heal better as a collective and we heal from other people's stories. Excuse me. And so I'm going to be posting 3 times a week. I'll post on Tuesday, Friday, and Sunday. This is the Sunday installation. So next Tuesday, I will come with another passage with another context and some teaching moments. And I hope this is helpful. And if it is, as YouTubers, we say, please subscribe and like, and please share this video if you find it really, really helpful. But more importantly, let's meet on the comments. Tell me what you resonate with. Share with me your family patterns if you're allowed to. Let's see where we can meet each other. And if you do want to write your story, write your memoir, and you don't know where to start, I'm happy to come in and help you and coach you along that. As a coach and a memoirist, those dynamics merge, so you'll let me know on the comments. I'll see you next time.